What's the first thing you think of when I say Canada? Maple syrup? Hockey. Goose. How about eels? Picture this. You're knee-deep in a misty Canadian river, surrounded by a beautiful backdrop of pine trees. But you're not here for the scenery. No. You're here for the slippery treasure in the waters. You've heard through the grapevines that a single haul of baby eels can get you tens of thousands of dollars. Determined to become rich off of Canadian eels, you lug your special eel trap over right around midnight and sploosh into the waters in your cozy onesie. Eels are nocturnal, so you'll be out there for a while. Now, if anyone asks, you're just out swimming under the moonlight. First rule of Eel Club is you do not talk about the Eel Club. Because you're not just eel fishing, you're eel stealing. Who's buying all this eel at such a high price tag? Well, China and Japan pretty much throw money so they can make their people happy. China primarily imports to build their own eel farms to later export adult eels, while Japan is a major consumer of eels. I know, live wriggly eels might not look appetizing, but when they're cooked, my mouth is watering just thinking about dragon rolls, grilled eel, and the food of my ancestors, Shanghai-style stir-fried eel. So why am I only talking about Canadian eel? Surely they're fished elsewhere. Well, there are a lot of other eels actually, like in Europe. But Europe banned eel fishing altogether back in 2010, causing demand to skyrocket for Canadian baby eels, or elvers. So for a good number of years, Canada became the hot spot for eel fishing. And stealing. Canada's Eel Club is a secret for a reason, bringing in $50 million in exports, which is not that big in the grand scheme of things when you compare it to the $3 billion from exporting lobster. Let's step away from the money for a second and follow a day in the life of definitely not an eel stealer, Noah Canuck. Noah has been struggling to make ends meet on $16.50 an hour, barely affording his daily Tim Hortons fix. Then he hears about these 2 grand fish practically having a party in Nova Scotia streams. Faster than you can say sorry, Noah and his buddies grab their trusty Remington 870s just to help a little bit of territory marking and pile into their Ford F-150 off to the Bay of Fundy. They show up, and there's already 100 others. But a guy's got a fish. And they start blasting, plus wrecking others' equipment. Anything to secure a fishing spot that night. Every night turns into a poaching night, and everybody adds into the violence in order to fish for money. Until finally the government stepped in. Before we talk about what they did, here's their track record. Housing crisis, truck strikes, healthcare shortage, all led by Trudeau. And on top of all those, eels. So Big T says we gotta get the fishery officers on the case. Yes, that's their real title. Anywho, the fishing companies started calling them, and no one would show up. So the fishing companies call in the big guns, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. And the red guys finally show up and shoot the red... very politely stop the poaching. However, the next year, in a Wall Street Journal article, they were told, hey, DFO, the Department of Fisheries and Oceans, has told us not to respond to alpha calls anymore. It's under their mandate. They don't want us there, and so we're not going to come anymore. And then the calls for help to DFO go unanswered. Just like my ex that still won't pick up. And now the federal government actually banned elver fishing right before the official season was supposed to open. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but how is keeping real commercial license holders away supposed to stop poaching? They have been fishing illegally. Now Noah and the boys will have an even easier time fishing in open waters. In the middle of all this, a federal lawmaker who represents fishing communities found death threats in his mailbox, along with severed heads of Canada geese. The government and DFO are tapping too much into their Canadian niceness, and Minister of DFO, Le Bouthelier, literally said we can't handle safely managing the fishery this year. DFO said they're trying to figure out a new license system, But that's still a whole year lost to people who fish for a living. Now, fisheries are going out of business. They might have to sell their car and their house since they no longer have a job. Not only are Canada's livelihoods being ruined, other countries like China and Japan, who import eels, must find alternative sources. Japan, already grappling with the weak yen and recession, faces even higher prices for a cultural delicacy. Who knows, with all the overfishing that's happened with the poachers, Canada might be on its way to banning overfishing just like Europe. And the saga of Canada's illicit activities continues. So, next time you're getting eel dish, it could be from yours truly, Noah Canuck and the boys, dodging fishery officers just to fish that for you. Thanks for visiting Too Big to Frog. We'll see you next time.